What is up, my beautiful people? Ian Hood here to give you the battle tactics. This is from a lens of my own. Obviously, you have just straight battle ideology, which is 1v1, 2v2, going in there, you know, who's got the best moves, who's the best, all that kind of stuff for respect, whatever it is. But you can battle for anything. And what I mean by that is you can battle for respect. You can battle to share yourself. You can battle to just fully express yourself. You can battle to speak to the person, to converse with the person. So there's layers to this battle thing. Majority of people stay at layer one, the surface, which is, let me see who's better. Number two is, let's push each other beyond the point of having the best moves and all that kind of stuff. Like who can in Krump, who can kill off in one round, right? Krump has always been that thing where we try and one round our opponent, and that makes us a better dancer. But for me personally, maybe in one sense, it makes you a better dancer. I think it's just about preparation and performance and timing, musicality. Like there's so many things, but again, there's different types of battles. So if we're pushing beyond that point, you're going to see different things come out. It's kind of a push of stamina, a push of creativity. So yeah, you've got the moves, you've got pushing each other, you've got conversational. It's so important to know that a battle is also about having the conversation. So as an example, if I were to battle you and what I wanted to say was, this is who I am, I don't care what you have to say about me. It could be on a beef tip, it could be on a you don't see me kind of situation, or it could just be like me in my bigness expressing that to you. And you as the opponent in the conversation should be replying to that, whether it be acknowledging it, whether it be showing me your bigness or showing me aspects of you that I don't know. Like, this is the stuff that a lot of people don't take into consideration about what dance battles can be, because majority of us have just been like, yo, it's entertainment, yo, it's like for the win. It doesn't go beyond that, which in my personal opinion, like, takes away from the depth of dance. And if you look at, you know, our ancestors, what did they dance for, man? You know, in the tribes, what did they dance for? It was all substance based. It wasn't about who was better. Like, what the hell? They danced to, like, how people say iron sharpens iron. Like, yes, but what about iron sharpening iron in the sense of, let me meet you, let me see you, let me see your soul, let me see your creativity, your mind, your body, but at the same time, not really care about the W, but still go at it from the space of, let me really go hard so that I can win. You know what I mean? Because that's always the second thing. You can do it in a way where, you know, if you're a beginner, you can do it where you do have your intention or your motive is to win, but that gets old really quick. Anyways, that's a little bit about what a battle is, what a battle can be. On to the next video about motives. And remember, this is like a short course based around prompts that can help you prepare to battle and be effective in the battle. A lot of people aren't effective in battle. All right, there we go. What is up? All right, how to be effective in battle. You need these 6 things. You need to be training these things. You need to be labbing and exploring these things. So the first one, I kind of touched on it before, which is motive. You need to know why. You need to know your why in the battle. It doesn't have to be deep. It doesn't even have to be surface level. It could be either or. It doesn't matter. There's a whole spectrum of motives that we can operate from and go into our lab knowing that's where we're coming from. So, as an example, when I prepared for the battle with another Krump dancer, 12, in an exhibition, I played on his name because he's called 12 AF. So I was like, what can I do? 12 ways he dies. That was my motive. So that is what I was going into the lab to figure out what I can do, how to do it. It gives me like a ground base. It gives me a base to always go back to. 12 ways he dies. You know what I mean? So that was my motive. You could say that was a little bit ego or whatever, but at the same time, that was my motive. And I know that I was about to have a crazy conversation with him because he's a different type of dancer. I'm a different type of dancer, and neither is right or wrong. But for me, I stand really strong in what I value in dance and what it is for me, which is a modality of pure self-expression, unfiltered self-expression, unrefined self-expression. Majority of dancers like the refined cut. I don't. Give me the unfiltered. Give me the raw. You know what I mean? Okay. So that was my motive. So your goal in this section of what is your motive, you could write down what they could be. So if you put yourself in the shoes of someone who is about to battle, who is it? Like, you can do this exercise with everybody that's in your scene, and the motive should kind of change. So write down who it is and write down your motive, what you want to express, what you want to say, how you want to approach the battle. That is your ground. And then the work starts after that. Second thing, you need to have your music, especially if it's a exhibition battle or a street battle. Have your music. Have your music. Know what works. Know what doesn't work. You have to be in the lab figuring out what music you want to dance to, what type of feel you want to get, understanding the music, what type of feel you want to bring. Like, it's such a big aspect. Like, you need to know what music activates you. You know what I mean? You need to know that. It's so important to know that, because if you go in and you're just like at a street session and you're just like, yeah, choose any track, and then it's a whack track that you don't actually feel, that doesn't activate you. Yes, it can be an extra challenge for you against the person, and that can fuel you, or it can just completely like destroy your preparation because you haven't even trained yourself on the music, with the music. So I train in 2 different ways. I lab in 2 different ways. I go through a couple labs with the music that I actually want to dance to, and I'll choose at least 3 tracks that I can go back and forth on, I can bounce back on. So let's say on the actual day, because you don't know how you're gonna feel, the first track might be different to what you had planned in your mind to be the first track, if that makes sense. So 3 main tracks that I would lab to really understand, to really capture, to really explore, work on, create in. And then in another lab, I would just dance to whack tracks, what I think is whack. Yeah, so that expands my capacity, it expands my vocabulary, it allows me to connect to myself in different ways. If you are if you're just basing your labs on tracks that you like, when it comes to a tournament and they play music that you don't lab to, you're probably going to take a L more than take a W because you don't like the track or you don't know the track. So go to, you can do this in the session, you can do this in the lab by yourself. If I'm going into a all styles battle, I won't even lab to Krump music. I'll just lab to all styles music, to hip hop. I'll go onto YouTube and type in, whatever, or I'll go onto my Spotify and type in, or just play whatever's gonna play, and I'll just dance to those things without a motive. But having that's for tournaments. I don't really have a motive in tournaments besides just showing up and expressing myself freely, because I've done so much lab already. Maybe for you guys, the beginners, it is important to have some preparation, to have a motive, whether that be let me try doing this, or let me show you who I am, like I was saying before, or let me see how hard I can go. Let me see how far I can go, which means you need to push your boundaries anyway. Okay, so that's the music. So you've got motive and then you've got music. I'm gonna leave it there. Understand the music. Use the music to your advantage. That's the end point, basically. Okay, the next one is feel. So you have motive, music, and feel. What is the feel determined by? It is obviously by you, your body, where you're at in the present moment, but also the music. The music will obviously make you feel, make you activate a certain aspect of yourself, or a character, or whatever it is for you in that moment. But for me, I tap into how I feel in the present moment and allow that to come out. So when you're in the lab, this is what you should be doing anyway, presencing yourself to yourself, how you feel in the lab, what you want to create in the lab. It all needs presence. And I think when you do presence yourself to where you're actually at, the material comes easier. The ideas start to flow, because majority of us live in our mind. We operate from our mind a whole lot. We don't think with any other brain besides this one, when we have this brain, the ether brain, and our heart. Or you could say the body's a brain as well. But tapping into those things give you more of yourself, more expression, more freedom to express yourself in a very present way that allows you to then create material, create ideas, really powerful ideas as well, especially going back to the motive, the conversation. For me, I like showing people how deep I can go, even if they don't understand. It's how well do you know yourself in the dance, bro? How well can you dance without moves? How well can you dance without material and just flow? That's my thing. So yeah, going back to the feel, that's how I create. Try that. If you don't like that, you can just move and express yourself regardless, and try and find things. This is what I do. When you presence yourself and you're dancing, Find things that you actually like, whether it be just one move or even a feeling, or with the music, like tapping into different sounds, into different rhythms. You will be able to create new things and not get stuck. And also that gives you more ammunition. So when you are dancing to the music, whatever your choice is, like you know it back to back. You know what's coming. You know how the music makes you feel. You know what you can create to those sounds, to those rhythms, to those lyrics. It might change every now and then, or like you might remix them, but you still have the foundation of your creating and of yourself and of your dancing in the motive, in the music, in the feel already. So can you see how we're building we're building it. We're building the confidence, we're building the material, we're building the feel, and this also can lead to the character. Feel can lead to your character. For me, I don't really worry about that anymore because I am a character, you know what I mean? So whatever flows to me in the present moment is what I'm going to do, is what I'm going to be. I think it's kind of outdated to just have one dimension of character. Yeah. So that's feel. Okay, so you got the motive, you got the motive, you got the music, you got the feel. Now it is time to create and play. This is a really important one as well, because you don't want to stay stuck in here when you're creating. You're limiting what you create and how you create. So you need to presence yourself and then just play. Like do random stuff. Still dance, still get buck or whatever, but you really want to make sure that you're just playing. The key to this exercise, though, this part of the preparation, is awareness. You need to have awareness of what you're doing, and so that you can capture what you are doing. And then you can remix it, and then you can really start building your combos or your rounds or whatever. Like, you need to have this create and play with awareness. The awareness is the key for you to creating stuff that you never thought that you could. Always continuously being fresh whenever you get into the lab and you're doing it. You can't think your way into really dope material. Some people can. Sometimes you might think, oh, yo, what if I do this? But it's only momentary, and then you have to go back and play and create anyway. Create and play. Okay, this one is very, very important, especially for the people that want to kill off. And even if you don't, I will go into another aspect of what this practice will help with. So practicing your moves, make sure you repeat them. Make sure you understand how they can go with the music. This is when you connect the motive, the music, the feel, and your lab, like your material, your moves, all together, and you practice it. Practice it to the music that's whack, practice it to the music that's really good, that you're actually going to use for the battle. Know where you're going to structure, know where you're going to pull the moves out. That way, especially because you know the music, you know what's coming. Some people might, some people won't, but that's not the point. The point is you being as effective as possible, so that when you do, you can build your round up and lead up to that kill off and to a crazy get off or whatever. Yeah. Does that make sense? Practice your moves. Drill them to the music over and over again until you have them. And also mentally prepare yourself in forgetting them or messing them up, and knowing how to recover. That's the whole idea of why you practice. Also, just like to get the move, but also don't worry about it. Don't worry about if you mess up, because you know you can always pick it back up. You know where you're going to be at in your round so that you can recover it and still be effective. And then the second reason to practicing, I like when I'm in the creative and play aspect of my lab, I just look for triggers. I look for pathways that I really enjoy. And then, because I know, like I've been there like 1,000 times, I know where I can go from that pathway. So even if I am stuck in a round, I know that I can flow through these different pathways and not just rely on a move. So does that make sense? So I can trigger myself into a pathway, multiple pathways, whether I'm stuck, whether I'm not. But that's what I like to find when I'm in the create and play aspect of my lab. Do I create moves? Yes, I do. Do they always change? Yes. But I know what type of dancer I am, and I prefer preparing to be the ultimate freestyler and be okay with what comes out. Like that gives me more adrenaline. It gives me more appreciation for myself and what I express. And if I need the moves, like if someone's getting at me really crazy and they hit whatever moves and I need to respond to that, I know I've got them. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. Practice your moves, or you can practice triggers or the things that get you into different dimensions, aka pathways. I hope all of this has helped. This is what I've been using. This is what I've used for probably a decade, taking out all of the battles that I've been in, or at least hitting the top 8 or top 4. But yeah, I've been taking an L for a really long time, man. And this is the approach that I use in all of my preparation, in all of my labs, when I am in a battle or know that I am going to battle, and it's been effective. Yeah, if you guys have any questions, hit me up in the DMs, in the comments, whatever it is. And yeah, looking forward to hear how it works for you guys, how you go, what you create. Yeah, peace and love.